There's one thing I always say about elections, and thank God it holds true every time. Election results will always surprise you, and this time the big surprise is the margin of victory. 2 weeks ago, we did a video on why NDA was predicted to win, but no one saw this kind of sweep coming, where the ruling alliance after 20 years has got more than 200 out of 243 seats. So without further ado, if you're thinking why is it that the NDA has swept Bihar, these are the primary reasons. First and foremost, this election marks the time when the BJP overtook the alliance partner in the state of Bihar. They had contested equal seats instead of being the junior partner of the JDU, and also the first time when they got a better strike rate than them, an almost impossible 90% strike rate, with the JDU also getting an impressive 80%. This means that the 2010 election, when Nitish Kumar first made his big bang and the success of the women vote first played out, has now been beaten by the BJP. Over the last decade, the party has perfected the art of winning elections, and it moves in its well-oiled machinery months before the election begins. For example, C.R. Patil, who was the Prime Minister's constituency keeper and Gujarat party president, he's known as something of a booth expert. And of course, Dharmendra Pradhan, the union minister, who has now delivered the second difficult election after Haryana and one of the main people pitched as BJP's presidential candidate. With these smart managers, they had the enormous might of their resources. For example, the booth level agent who ensures that in every small block of a village, committed voters come out to vote. They are the ones who ensure support for individual parties, and they actually make them come out. This BLA was about 90,000 workers on the ground for BJP and JDU, compared to only 65,000 for the RJD and Congress. So, good managers, good workers on the ground, and of course, the ability to also spend on them. The second factor that is being cited by all is the announcement of the Women Entrepreneur Scheme, which ensured 10,000 rupees for one woman in every family. An announcement that made the opposition cry foul, as the disbursement was during the Model Code of Conduct. The umpire of polls, the EC, didn't find these objections valid, and for the poorest state in the country, this was a major inducement. Every family was getting 10,000 rupees in the bank, a one-time payment, and all it required was for the woman to sign up for the Jivika scheme. It may explain how the women outnumbered the male voters by 10 percentage points. The credit for women coming out to vote in such large numbers also has to go to the Chief Minister Nitish Kumar. On the streets of Bihar, the posters said it all. Bihar ka matlab Nitish Kumar, and 25 se 30 phir se Nitish. Nitish is the face that BJP projected despite his advancing age of 74 and reports of ill health. The only reason why the BJP kept saying that they will fight the election under Nitish Kumar is because all their surveys showed that he was the one uniting face. The BJP didn't have anyone who could unite all. So the man who has led the state for 20 years is now readying for the fifth term. Of course, there is a little bit of uncertainty because we haven't heard BJP say unequivocally that he will be CM. But with an 80% strike rate and such popularity, can the BJP go for any other option? At the end of the day, the one lesson that rings most true with Bihar is caste arithmetic. Now that we have the caste survey in the state, it's very clear who commands how much vote. So if you go by that, then the maths totally explains why the NDA swept. The JDU and its allies like the HAM and Kushwaha party bring in the biggest group, which is the EBC with 36%, and the non-Yadavs, which is about 10%. The BJP has its traditional vote bank of upper caste and Vaishyas in addition to that. The opposition, meanwhile, had its traditional vote bank of only Muslims and Yadavs, which is 31%. So to win, they needed to go beyond that. They needed to get more communities in their rainbow, like Akhilesh Yadav did in Uttar Pradesh. Tejashwi Yadav tried to do that by getting the EBC leader Mukesh Sahni, but it was a flop show. He got 0 seats, and more importantly, the move may have alienated the core vote of Muslims. Speaking of Muslims in Bihar, here's something that nobody, absolutely nobody could have seen. In a state like Bihar, where the Congress party has ruled in the past, they are now in such a bad state that their performance is comparable to Asaduddin Owaisi's AIMIM had tried to join hands with the Mahagathbandhan, but he was shooed away because he got 5 seats last time and the opposition this time thought they didn't need him. The Congress and the RJD kept fighting for more seats that they had no space to share with anybody else. Now Mr. Owaisi is having the last laugh. The Congress of course knew it was doing badly. That's why Rahul Gandhi barely went for 4 days. He spent 17 days talking about vote chori and the SIR but was hardly there during the real campaign. I spoke to leaders throughout the campaign and they knew that they were losing, but no one knew that it was going to be this bad. If AIMIM is winning more seats than them, then they cannot blame all their problems on vote chori. And finally, how do you win an election if you don't give the people something to vote for? If you just listen to the opposition speeches this time, what did you hear? You heard about the problems with the government, you heard about the lack of jobs, and so you promised more jobs. You heard about the fraying of our constitutional rights. But did you hear a vision of what was the alternative? What a life under the opposition would look like? Not really. And voters just don't want to hear what's wrong with their lives. They need an alternative vision, which didn't come through. Tejashwi Yadav in all his rallies kept asking for one chance to prove himself, but it seems that voters are tougher. They heard his promise of a job in every family, but maybe it just came too late. The message from the people is very clear and personal.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले.
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the US will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HT videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.